1. Thanksgiving Day Revenge. Asmiron Jebri Saleh, 47, interrupted a 2006 Thanksgiving Day party in Oakland, California, when he walked into an apartment armed with 2 guns and brutally murdered his sister-in-law, her brother, and their mother. Inside the 3rd-floor apartment in the Keller Plaza apartment complex on the 5300 block of Telegraph Avenue in North Oakland, a holiday feast was cooking, but someone else was simmering with rage. The killing was, according to those close to the situation, a retaliation killing for the death of Abraham Jebri Saleh, 42, who died after collapsing at home in March of that same year. Even though the coroner determined that his brother had died of sudden but natural occurrences, his brother Asmiron was convinced that his late brother's wife, Winta, was to blame and believed that she committed the murder in order to get her hands on her husband's $500,000 life insurance policy. Tudros Jebri Saleh, 43, Asmiron's other brother, whom authorities also believed was in on the planning, was in attendance at the party and was reportedly talking on his cell phone when he was overheard saying, "Yeah, they're all here," before opening the door and letting the armed Asmiron into the apartment. Tudros, seemingly aware of what was about to happen, grabbed his 2-year-old nephew, Isaac, the son of his deceased brother, and took him to their mother's 2nd-floor apartment in the same building. Shooting with determined precision, Asmiron killed his brother's widow, Winter Mahari, 28, her mother, Rejbi, 50, and Mahari's little brother, Jonas, 17, a local and well-liked student at Berkeley High School. Agasem Mahari, Winter's twin brother, jumped out of the 3rd-story window to avoid being shot, and miraculously, he survived the fall with only minor injuries. Also shot was Yefram Mahari, who managed to overcome the bullet to his ankle and disarm the gunman. The gunman ran to the same apartment as his brother, who also had possession of the 2-year-old, now orphaned, Isaac. After 2 hours, SWAT was able to get the 2 brothers to come out of their apartment and was able to apprehend them. They also rescued the 2-year-old, who now had no mother and no father, and returned him to the distraught extended family. Both Asmiron and Tudros were initially convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. However, after his case was reviewed, the judge gave Tudros a new trial in which he was sentenced to 3 voluntary counts of manslaughter and released for the 10 years he had already served, as he was not actually present for the killings, but played an integral part in the setup. Asmiron, who maintains that the family he killed was actually trying to kill him, was full of outbursts and racist tirades directed at the judge and is still in prison serving multiple life sentences. The Last Thanksgiving. Joel Michael Guy Jr., 28, of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, was visiting his parents, Joel Guy Sr., 61, and his wife, Lisa, 55, in Knoxville, Tennessee, for Thanksgiving. He, along with his 3 sisters, planned to enjoy one last meal in the family home, as their parents were moving 90 minutes away to live in Michael's late mother's home. Little did the parents know that the family meal of turkey and mashed potatoes would not only be their last in this home, but their last ever. They enjoyed their family dinner with no fighting or other remarkable incidents, recalls one sister, but after the 3 sisters said their goodbyes, Joel received some unwelcome news. His parents would be scaling back their generous and long-standing financial support of their unemployed son, who had recently dropped out of college, Louisiana State University, the previous year. Whether he ever actually received the news of his parents withdrawing financial support is unclear, but something set him off, as during the late hours of Friday night or Saturday morning, Joel viciously stabbed both parents to death. But he didn't stop there. In what authorities are calling a highly unusual crime, Joel proceeded to dismember the bodies and break them into smaller batches, which he then attempted to dissolve in a homemade acid solution. Authorities were first alerted to the missing couple when, on Monday, Lisa's employer, Jacobs Engineering in Oak Ridge, called police to report that Lisa never showed up to an important and pre-scheduled meeting. Initially, a police officer went to the home, knocked on the door but didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. Thinking she had simply been playing hooky from work, the officer did not take the call seriously. It wasn't until Lisa's employers went up the chain of command and called the Major Crimes Division that an officer went to look again, this time performing a more extensive search, and, looking through the home's windows, he saw telltale signs of a struggle and blood on the floor. The highly decomposed remains were found in multiple rooms within the home, soaking in a mixture of liquid fire, which is used to unclog drains, hydrogen peroxide, sewer cleaner, and bleach. This corrosive and powerful mixture was not professional in nature. All items could be found in a household's cleaning arsenal. It wasn't effective enough either, as authorities were still able to determine identity and cause of death. 2 days later, the FBI was able to arrest Joel when he left his Baton Rouge apartment. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of abusing a corpse. Although a trial was set for September of 2018, there is no available information on the status of the case. An Unholy Feast. Christopher Gaddis, 58, was a youth pastor at Grace Lutheran Church in Chester, Virginia, when, on November 23, 2017, Thanksgiving night, he fatally shot everyone in his household, brutally killing his wife, Jeanette Gaddis, 58, his stepdaughter, 30-year-old Candace Coons, and her boyfriend, 36-year-old Andrew Butthorn. The latter 2 were simply visiting for the holiday from Olympia, Washington. The fighting had supposedly started 2 days prior, on November 21st, when red wine had been spilled whilst the family played a board game. In retaliation for her spilling the wine, Christopher, at that time already drunk, shoved his wife and cocked his fist as if planning on punching her. It was only when his nephew stepped in to stop the fight from escalating that Christopher backed down. Later that night, Jeanette, Christopher's wife, secretly gave that same nephew Christopher's gun, confiding in him, quote, "I'm scared he's going to use this." The animosity between family members supposedly stemmed from the fact that Christopher didn't want his wife's children to stay at their house. Her daughter, Candace, and her daughter's boyfriend, Andrew, were physical therapists and had taken time off of work to visit the family for a few weeks before starting their next contract in Arizona. The tension continued to build over the next few days and came to a head the night of Thanksgiving when, around 6 p.m., Christopher confronted the stepdaughter and her boyfriend as they relaxed in the backyard hot tub. Security surveillance of the home shows Christopher wagging his finger at them and ordering them to leave. However, Christopher's wife intervened and began to film the confrontation with her cell phone. After walking away, Christopher said he listened to the couple, as he puts it, belittle him from the upstairs window as his rage increased. At that time, he started sending bizarre text messages to the 3 family members in what seems to be a premeditated attempt at faking a self-defense claim. At 9:50 p.m. that night, he texted, quote, please stop threatening me. I am so scared. Please leave me alone. I am in fear of my life. I feel you want to kill me. Please let me live." 1 minute later, he continued planting the seeds of defense, texting, quote, "I just want to live. Please, oh." And a few minutes later, he continued to fake fear by texting, quote, "Stop telling me you want to kill me," as well as a few minutes after that, "Stop scaring me. I'm so afraid." There is zero evidence that he was ever actually worried for his life, and all evidence points to him falsifying these fears in order to preempt police investigators by making it look like an act of self-defense. Later, at 9:58 p.m., Christopher texted, "You're hurting me," and at 10:10 wrote, "Please don't come into my room to hurt me." At 10:27, he texted, "Please don't come after me. Thanks." And then, at 10:30, "You want to hurt me. I'm so scared. You and Candy want to kill me," referencing his stepdaughter, Candace, by her nickname, Candy. These texts were alarming to his wife, who messaged her nephew, the same one who had prevented Christopher from punching her over the spilled wine. She sent a screenshot of the messages and wrote, "He's over the edge. We have left him alone. We'll send you his last text. I think he's doing mind games." Her nephew, alarmed at this strange turn of events, texted back at 10:57 p.m., "What in the world? Please be careful. I don't know what he's doing, but I think you two should stay somewhere else if you can." And a few minutes later, after much thought, wrote to Jeanette, "This is a very strange message. I don't believe he's scared at all. I don't know why he would say that. I won't message him. For Candy, Andrew's, and your sake, I really think you should stay somewhere else." But they didn't. And 18 minutes later, around 11:15 p.m., the family, minus Christopher, was playing a board game after their Thanksgiving feast. As it was getting late, their guard was down. Christopher, unbeknownst to the family, came downstairs armed with a Taurus .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol and 3 fully loaded magazines. He shot his wife first, and then turned the gun on his stepdaughter. She somehow got her own murder on tape as her cell phone was recording at the time, possibly because she knew he was about to get violent. The recording reveals that, after both women were shot, Andrew crouched behind a table and begged for his life, saying, "I will go out, I will leave," as the dying screams of one of the women can be heard in the background. But, as he ran for the door and exited the home, Christopher emptied his gun into the innocent boyfriend, killing him from behind on the front yard of the fated family home. Christopher called his home alarm company and ominously told them to send the police, although he did not specify why. When the cops arrived, he was found sitting just 3 feet away from the boyfriend's body and claimed that the whole family had attacked him. He said that he had tried to warn the boyfriend, Andrew, to remove himself, showing a text he had sent asking him to leave, which read in part, "I'm sorry you stepped into a bad situation," but that he did not listen. An officer's body camera captured his confession, which defense attorneys later tried to get thrown out due to the fact that his Miranda rights had not been read. As seen on the footage, when the cops asked him how many people he had shot, Christopher simply said, 3. They're probably all dead. They all came after me. A judge later ruled this admissible, as in the immediate aftermath of emergency situations, suspects can be detained and questioned without Miranda rights being read. Christopher claimed that the 3 had, quote, "kept threatening me," and that he had shot them only after they, quote, "all ganged up on me." The judge did not believe this fabricated defense, however, and sentenced Christopher to life in prison without the possibility of parole.